As he came around the final corner in the rain, the bike slipped out from under him and ejected him over the handlebars. But Alex Marquez didn't let go. He yanked the throttle and he managed to steady the bike, basically water skiing next to it until he made it off the track safely. It was the kind of insane save that people had come to expect from Alex's older brother, Marc. Marc and Alex Marquez were two of the most skillful, riskiest, and some might even say luckiest riders in motorcycle racing history. However, as Marc would find out just 1 year after his brother's incredible save, when taking on massive amounts of risk, eventually, your luck runs out. Before Marc's crash, he'd been completely dominating MotoGP for years. In 2019, he had the highest scoring season in MotoGP history, winning 12 out of 19 races and finishing on the podium in all but one. Alex also had an incredible 2019 season, winning the Intermediate Moto2 Championship, which helped him advance to MotoGP in 2020, competing alongside his brother in the ultimate sibling rivalry. That was until the 2020 Spanish GP. Marc certainly wasn't a stranger to crashing. He would often push his extreme angled leans a little too far in the corners, but he'd also become notorious for his ability to save himself when he did slip out. However, when his rear wheel slipped out on a turn during the 2020 Spanish GP, he was catapulted into the air and he slammed onto the pavement. But as he slid into the gravel trap meant to slow him down and protect him, Marc's bike came sliding in behind him, and the front wheel, which is estimated to have been spinning at over 150 kilometers per hour, slammed into his arm, shattering the bone and sending Marc violently hurtling deeper into the gravel trap. Marc went to hospital, they cut him open, and they managed to stabilize his broken arm with a titanium plate. And just 3 days later, Marc was back on his bike. It seemed insane, but the doctor had apparently cleared him to compete again. However, Marc would later find out that his premature return caused his titanium plate to fail, and he would end up requiring 3 more surgeries to fix it. After finally taking a proper break to heal, Marc eventually did return again in 2021, and he began reclaiming his title as the most dominant racer in MotoGP. But as he entered the start of the season in 2022, Marc had another terrifying crash during a warm-up lap.
Wow! That is one of the biggest high sides I've seen in 25 years.
By this point, people thought that Marc's dominance in the sport had come to an end, and many expected him to finally hang up the helmet and retire. However, through 2 more years of rehab, Marc made it back to the track again, and also worked his way once again back onto the podium, this time with his brother by his side.
For the first time in MotoGP, the Marquez brothers will stand alongside each other on the podium.
And by the end of the year, Marc had once again secured himself as the best on the track.
One of the greatest comebacks in Grand Prix history is complete.